Welcome to the Artist Loft, the talk show for all artists. Join us each show as we spotlight a variety of different creatives, hosted by the Florida Arts Network, with Richard Sosa and Frank A. Ruffolo.
Hey everybody, welcome back.
Welcome.
Yes, I am Richard Sosa, and I'm here once again with Alicia.
Alicia, I'm back, just temporarily.
Yeah. Last time we mentioned that Frank and his wife had been in a car accident, and so they're still recovering and everything. So, but they'll be back. They'll be back with us again soon.
Can't wait.
As we've always mentioned, our show is hosted by the Florida Arts Network. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. For the arts, one of our goals is to bring the arts to our youth who don't have a lot of opportunity here. So hit our website when you can. It's floridaartsnetwork.org. Check us out, and there's always opportunity to help. We welcome your tax-deductible gifts to further our cause. So today we have a couple of amazing guests here. We have George Monteiro and Patricia Delinois. How are you guys doing?
Hello, welcome.
We're doing great.
Doing great.
All right. I've known George for quite some time. We've worked on a lot of films together, and we're working on one now. Patricia is our lead and a producer for the film called Sisters of Vengeance. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about how that idea was born?
George, you want to start? Or?
Well, Patricia and I had been working on a number of projects, Hot Life Miami being a local lifestyle program, and she knew I'd been doing some feature films and wanted to explore the idea of doing one in our local area that had some sort of cause related to it, and we racked our brains and came up with the idea of Sisters of Vengeance, which is basically the story of a former sex trafficking victim who decides to go after the sex traffickers in very creative and, let's just say, vindictive ways, but in the end, frees a group of sex trafficked children. This was well before Sound of Freedom came about. We were exploring new ground, we thought. Other films, of course, have done it, but we did it in a little bit of a different way. And I think a way that appeals to audiences in a way that is not depressing or too terribly disturbing, but gets the message across in an entertaining way and promotes the cause of ending human trafficking, which is the second largest crime in the world right now.
Yeah, and it's crazy because the U.S. is the largest consumer of human trafficking. And a lot of people, when they talk about human trafficking, they think about the sex trade. But there's also organ harvesting, there's indentured servitude, there's a lot to it. And it ruins lives. It really does. And a lot of these kids that get caught up in that, you know what their average lifespan is for a kid caught up in human?
Long?
7 years.
Oh, God.
7 years. That's it.
It just blows my mind that living here in the United States, it's happening in our backyards. And what I loved about George, this project that you and Patricia, what you guys are working on, what you have been working on, is that you take a very serious matter, something that's very, very, very
heart-wrenching.
Heart-wrenching and disturbing for all of us, and that they are doing it in a way where
it's palatable. That's how I like to say it.
And palatable and powerful, and you know, and it's all in the title, Sisters of Vengeance.
We actually had someone who came to the theater at Fort Lauderdale. We've been in festivals around the world, but at the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival, and she said, you know, I came, but I really was expecting not to like this movie at all because of the subject, and it's a hard subject for a lot of people. But then she said she left and she absolutely loved it, and instead of feeling depressed, which can happen with this kind of movie, is she felt hope. So I really have to hand it to our talented director, our award-winning director, because it's not an easy task to take such a difficult subject and make it hopeful and also make it entertaining. There was some comedy, a little bit of Pulp Fiction style, and it just all really worked. So, and that's because of George's creative artistic ability.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah, and I've told George this before, how much I admire his work, and I love. I would do anything for this man. I really would. And this is not your first foray into film. Right? You've done a lot of great stuff before. Infidel, Highway to Hell. We were talking about some of these films backstage. The talent just it blows me away. It really does.
And I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. And do you want to talk about Infidel and Highway to Hell a little bit, just to give us a little snippet for the audience to understand your diversity?
Well, when I know I'm going to have to spend 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years making a film, it's got to be something that really pulls at the heartstrings, something that has meaning, purpose, is not just to entertain people for a half an hour. I go into a space in my mind, in my heart, and I believe God has something to do with it, a lot to do with it. What do people need to hear? What do I need to hear? And Infidel was a story that came out. The film came out just before the theater shooting in Oregon, I believe it was, and it was a story about a terrorist who goes into a church and says, anyone in here who's not a Christian is free to leave. And surprisingly enough, most of the people leave, but a few stay. And we learn from them what it really means to be a believer, and how if you believe in something strong enough, it's worth dying for. Highway to Hell was a sort of a similar story. And Sisters of Vengeance is a story about a strong woman who is not willing just to escape a terrible situation, but is not happy unless she can help her sisters in bondage escape that same reality. And unfortunately, there are 25 million women, children, and even some men in some form of sexual slavery or servitude in the world today. Many more people are in slavery today than there were before we fought a civil war to end slavery. So something is not right in the world, and if we can point a flashlight at it and get people to be aware of it, awareness is the first step in changing things. So we hope this little film will bring awareness and do it in such a way that people will feel hope to make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, Patricia, this is your first feature film, right?
Yes, and what really attracted me to this project is really I'm very passionate about the cause. Sorry, this is our little mascot, our Sisters of Vengeance mascot, who happened to jump on my lap, and he's a rescue. And George decided he's perfect movie material, so you will see him in the feature film. So he just jumped on my lap. But I'm really very passionate about helping bring awareness, because I hope that our goal is not just to make one movie, but to make affordable movies every year on the subject. There's so much content and so many stories, and bring these stories to life. And if I can, at my funeral, instead of all the big deals I did, or, I hope that people remember the millions of lives we were able to save with our project. So it really, it's not just a movie to me. It's more of a life passion, is to help save these children. It's not just women. It's not just little boys. It's children, and 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, which is, they prefer to prey on the young preteens because, as you mentioned before, Richard, is they have a short lifespan. So by the time they're 17, 18, they're either drug addicts, they kill themselves, or someone kills them.
Yeah, you just need to bring the mic a little bit closer to you so they can pick you up a little bit better. Okay. And it's crazy how young some of these kids. I mean, 4 and 5-year-olds. It's just
nonsense.
And we can go into the whole thing on how on social media and
pornography.
What they and a lot of these kids are looking at some of the especially the little girls. They're looking at these older women and some of the TikToks that they do, and they try and emulate the older women, but they're 5. It's like, what are you doing? And they end up putting themselves in really bad situations, unknowingly, innocently, but it's just.
And sometimes
it's crazy.
A boyfriend or someone who pretends to be a boyfriend lures them in, gets them to be on drugs, and before you know it, they're working.
Yeah, and that's how they keep these kids compliant.
It's a lot of manipulation. A lot of manipulation, and the money also, to provide for the family, and there's a lot of grooming, what they call, involved. It's a situation that is so heavy, and there's so many layers upon it. No,
it's crazy. And so we have a trailer for the film. We're gonna cut for a really quick commercial break, and then when we come back, we're gonna play that trailer.
Ever needed a good read? Maybe a book to keep your mind off things. Frank A. Ruffalo is an internationally known author and accomplished screenwriter. He's written many successful novels with amazing stories. Fiction adventures like The Lady of the Harbor, The Trihedral of Chaos, Gabriel's Chalice, 10048, and many more. For more information, visit www.frankaruffalo.com, or you can find Frank Ruffalo on Amazon.
And we're back. Told you it was going to be a quick break. I don't lie. Well, sometimes I edit the truth, but
an alibi.
Yeah. All right. So, George, you brought the trailer for Sisters of Vengeance. So let's take a look at that now.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 25 years since my last confession.
25 years, my child? That's a long time.
You have no idea.
Please, I'll be good, I promise.
How good? Show me.
Fasten your seatbelts, girl.
You still got some fighting.
Good God, woman!
Should I stop?
Heavens no! What happened next?
You got family somewhere? You do now.
What about him?
Come back here, she's mine!
You don't need to worry about him anymore. Smile. And the night was just getting started.
Layla. Mwah. He's here. He came on his yacht.
I give half my fortune to the children.
What is that? What are you doing?
Trust me, you will hardly miss it. And it will save you a lifetime of sorrow. What is that? What are you doing?
Trust me, you'll hardly miss it, and it will save you a lifetime of sorrow.
God. What did you do?
Payback's a bitch! Police, drop it! Do you have any idea who this guy is? Where did you leave the bag? You don't want to know. What? Smile.
You're making this all up, aren't you?
No, I'm not making anything up. You want to see a selfie?
Oh my dear God.
Not this thing for you, Pastor.
Smile. Guess he's gonna be late. So, isn't this where you tell me what my penance is going to be?
Oh, woo!
All right.
That was great. And when we went to see it in the theater, the whole audience was just in applause at the end because everyone was so rooting for your character, Patricia. That and everything that you what?
Well, I mean, she's the protagonist, right? She's the one that everybody is rooting for.
We were rooting for you, and
you want to know what the funny thing is that okay? So we've been working on this for quite some time, and as you saw, I'm in the film as well.
Isn't it?
But every time I see it, I still cry in some places and laugh in some places. Yeah. The hair on my arm still stands up. It impacts you. It's
powerful.
It's like as many times as I've seen it, it hasn't dulled my senses in any way. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get used to seeing something, when you see it over and over, and this doesn't. It really doesn't.
And I think that's what you meant, George, when you said it had a little bit of that Pulp Fiction sort of, just the rhythm of it. It was like, oh, bang, 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 pow, pow, pow.
Yeah, I know, kind of like, remember the old Batman and Robin shows?
Yes,
it's
that's
like,
good.
Boom, pow. Yeah, maybe we can incorporate that. I'm kidding. George is nodding because he'll normally just say yes, just to keep the cast and crew quiet.
Well, years ago when I met George, I saw him and I thought he looked like a mad scientist, right?
Okay.
I don't know about a mad
look
scientist.
Look at the genius behind him. Yeah. He has such a genius. So we applaud you.
Thank you.
Well done, Patricia. Great job. And thank you so much for bringing this to the table.
Now, it has been hitting it's been going to the film festival circuit, and it's doing quite well, right?
We were really not expecting that, but it's been all over the world and has received over 31 official selections, nominations, and awards. We just recently got one more at the Fort Lauderdale Film Festival, which was our local festival. And we were really surprised at how it created a movement that our people, the audience, was very passionate. They wanted to see more. And now George is working on his genius talent of Next.
Yes, good.
Well, yeah, our original goal was to create a feature film, but we didn't have quite enough money. So we made the film we could make with the money we had, which wound up being about the first third of the film. And we used the film festival circuit to see if audiences would respond or just shrug their shoulders and say, what's wrong with these people? I didn't know what to expect, really. And seeing it in the audience, being in the audience and watching the audience react to the short version of the film has just really been rewarding, because when people laugh at the right places and cry at the right places and are literally glued to the screen, you're onto something. Mm-hmm. And even the feature-length screenplay that I wrote in anticipation of shooting this short version has changed, because I've learned what the audience responds to, what the viewers react to most. So the feature film is going to be even more energetic and more impactful and keep that high pace of energy that you were talking about, Alicia, because that's what really draws the audience in. Yes, serious dramas and serious documentaries about the subject are important, but people, when they're engaged in a topic and are drawn in and watch it to the end, many times people see a depressing film and don't watch it to the end because it's just too disturbing. When people are engaged and drawn into a story, they want to learn more, they want to do more, and we give them that opportunity. In the feature film, there's going to be a lot more information. In fact, if you go to our website, sistersofvengeance.com, we have a whole section there about resources where you can connect with different human trafficking organizations. We have a human trafficking expert on our staff, on our crew, Victor Williams, a former Homeland Security agent in charge of human trafficking. So we're using this, like Patricia said, not just to make a movie, but to start a movement. If anybody's interested in helping us, go to our website and send us a note. We'd love to hear from you. And we've heard from a lot of people that have now involved with the film, so you can be one of those.
And you've got something coming up we have something coming up in January. All right, tell us a little bit about that.
You want to tell them?
Well, we're working on a rally in Miami Beach on Ocean Drive, and the idea is to bring together everyone who wants to help bring more awareness to this cause, wants to help save lives, and come and help support each other at the same time. It also happens to be a scene in the film. And we're also working on the, I guess it's top secret, I don't know if a music video for the theme song. We're kind of a little bit like We Are the World, so bringing artists and musicians from all over the world to also bring awareness. So if you're an artist, musician, or really just believe in the cause, reach out, because this is really a homegrown effort. This movie was made by people who volunteered, people who care about the cause. Locations were donated. So many helpful, caring people made this possible.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And when is it the rally? January?
The tentative date is January 28th. It's all still in the works, but we will keep you updated for sure, Richard.
Yeah, so remember, sistersofvengeance.com. As I get the updates, I'll also be putting it on the FloridaArtsNetwork.org page. It'll be all over social media, Facebook, Instagram.
All over.
Yeah.
All over.
Yeah, it's just going to be all over the place, I'll tell you.
Because we are Sisters of Vengeance.
That's right, yes.
We need more sisters.
Yeah.
You can be a sister too, even if you're a guy.
That's right.
Yeah.
To all the sisters
well,
and
nowadays,
the
you know.
No, to all the sisters and the misters and then between.
The sisters and the misters and in between, yes.
Yes.
The fluid, or I don't know enough about that. But anyway.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, we're hoping to see really big things come from Sisters of Vengeance. And there's talk of, aside from a movie, can we talk about that?
We're also working on a TV series.
Okay.
There's a lot of things in the works. It's very exciting, and we're happy that we've got so much interest.
Yeah, there really is a lot of interest. It's amazing.
And the topic, as you said, doesn't just include human trafficking for sexual exploitation, but organ trafficking, indentured servitude, and the like. And all those deserve a whole scene or a movie devoted just to them, because there's really a lot going on beneath the surface that we just don't realize and don't know about, and it needs to be exposed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these people, they're promised a better life here in the States, and the first thing that the traffickers do is they grab any kind of ID, any kind of passports and stuff, And so they get here, they can't get any other kind of documentation. They can't do anything except what they're told to do. So now you're going to pay us for bringing you here in whatever way we deem necessary.
Isn't Florida number one in the country?
Actually, it's California. California's number one, Florida's number 2, and Texas is number 3.
But this is really a problem worldwide. This is a global issue. It's the number one crime out there. What happens is criminals were into drugs. They realized they could sell a drug once, but they could sell a human over and over and over. I mean, it's sad, but it's what happens.
Yeah. All right. I cannot believe, I just got the signal. I can't believe this. Time's just about gone.
Thank you, George
always.
and Patricia.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
And Chico, your new mascot, says thank
Yes.
you too.
Chico,
thank you, Chico.
He wants to be a movie star too.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for coming on and sharing with us this wonderful, incredible project and all that it still has to come with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to bring the awareness. No,
yeah.
we have to be aware. We
absolutely.
have to have this.
Yeah, because everybody kind of like tries to ignore it until it affects them.
Well,
right?
it's in our backyards. It's all over the place. So this is something we have to address.
Yeah. All right. So, Florida Arts Network. Before I forget, because I do forget stuff. I'm a squirrel. Florida Arts Network on December 6th is going to be having a little year-end party at the Pier 6 rooftop in Pompano Beach. So if you're in the area, you want to come on by.
Right on the water.
And wear your ugly sweater. If we get enough people wearing ugly sweaters, we'll have a little fashion show. All right? And don't forget our website, floridaartsnetwork.org. You can visit us there and see how you can help and how you can donate. All right? So thanks for tuning in once again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you for watching the Artist Loft. Make sure to tune in next time for another great show. A show that was produced by Ant Media Productions and hosted by the Florida Arts Network with your hosts Richard Sosa and Frank A. Ruffolo.